Sponsorem programu jest TAURON, sprzedawca prądu, fotowoltaiki i ogrzewania.
Well, a warm welcome from Guestrow in Germany. With me, we'll have David Rowe. Sam, I believe the second round is just behind the door. It will commence in a few minutes. And you had a mixed feeling because German soil you know pretty well because of Herxheim long track in 1989. And 4 years later, Rottelstadion, fabulous laydown engine by Hans Nielsen, and you became the world champion. So mixed feelings
here in Germany, and still ongoing as we're here again today. Güstrow's track I've been to before too, and it's a superb racetrack. My feelings are great about Germany. I'm going to come back for the 75 years at Parking when I won it so many years ago.
Rottelstadion, fabulous one.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to being that part.
Frank Hebden was the referee that day, Dave. So you're a compatriot. And this kind of track, it promotes the best riders, not only the good gators.
Yeah, I think so. This circuit is one we always enjoy coming to because we often get a surprise winner. You can't really predict what's going to happen. Probably of the 4 circuits that we come to, certainly this year in the series, the least predictable. You look at the 2 main contenders, Leon Madsen, Mikkel Mikkelsen, have never won here. That shows how hard it can be.
Lambert has won it here, yeah?
Lambert was superb, yeah. Lambert was superb when he went past Madsen on the second bend in 2018. So as I say, 7 times the series been here, 7 different winners. That's how hard it is.
Sam, you've been racing in 1994 in Voins when Tony Ricardson became the world champion for the first time.
Yep.
And this track is only 2 meters shorter, but totally different in Voins.
Oh yeah, this is not traditional speedway, this track. It's kind of a round track.
Circle.
Yeah, and most tracks usually get a bit of a straightaway, and it's definitely technical, and it's really different because the start line's coming off of turn 4 rather than the middle of a straightaway, which there isn't really much of a straightaway on this track. And it does produce some different kinds of racing. There's inside lines and outside lines. Most of the guys feel safer on the inside, but when the track gives it to them, the rider riding against the fence can pick up some good ground.
So do you reckon Momo Green is tougher than here?
Hey, you know what? Newberg, I talked to him earlier, and he said to me, this track's easier than Wolverhampton.
Ah, correct.
So there you go.
So Ronnie Corey probably would say, yeah, I agree with that one, that statement.
Yeah.
Dave, Robert Lambert, one of the greatest riders, technical skills second to none. We've seen the way he passed Dominic Cabrera at the World Cup in Wrocław. What do you reckon with Adam Ellis? He was a good racer. He's going to compete tonight.
Yeah, we certainly hope so. We had a good start to the series in Chesterhover. Won his first race, won Heat 1. Didn't quite get the points then that the efforts deserved, but he's certainly a rider who has done well in Poland this year. I think his British form has been a bit inconsistent with Sheffield. It's his second year now in this series, so real time to kick on and hopefully progress towards that top 6 on the night. Certainly a circuit which he makes some starts. No reason why he can't get involved.
Sam, 4 rounds over here will be also the round in Bigos and Pardubice will be the last one, the final. Do you reckon the 4 runs is enough to bring the real European
Well,
champion?
you know, right now we got the 2 top contenders, and they're both from Denmark. You know, we got Leon Madsen that's just exceptionally doing well, both in the Grand Prix and also in this series too. And Mikkel Mikkelsen's had a little bit of trouble actually keeping him tamed and keeping him behind him. And we've seen that at Czestochowa in the first round. Mikkelsen made a superb start off of gate 2, got over the top of him. And then we thought that's going to be it, but he just left the door open, and you can't do that when you got quality rider like Madsen behind you. So 4 rounds, some riders would say we need more. Hopefully Mikkelsen will learn from that mistake because he had him beat. He had Madsen beat, but we were for those guys to catch up for sure.
Chesterhover was the first round, and we can see the after movie. It's a great racetrack to watch, not only because of Joe Screen was racing on Piotr Feast, himself or Billy Hamill, remember the bullet? Yeah. So we should see the stuff from Chesterhover, the after movie right now.
Hello and welcome to Chesterhover for the TAURON Speedway Euro Championship. 9 months ago, Denmark's Leon Madsen became a double champion. This year, both he and Mikkel Mikkelsen are looking to win the series for the 3rd time. And whoever does win overall is guaranteed a place in next season's Speedway Grand Prix. Euro Championship, starts his campaign with 16 points out of 18. You can see what it means to him too. He really wants to become a triple champion and do it back to back, and he wins the opening round in Częstochowa.
Well, without a doubt, the racing is superb, and every single year it becomes better and better. The profile of the Speedway Euro Championship, I don't know if you agree, gents, but it's getting better. Malaysia, Latvia, Romania, UK, so many countries you can watch it live.
Yeah, it's unbelievable what the coverage that the Speedway European Championship's getting, and I bet you from watching that one right there, if Leon Madsen was watching it right now, he'd want to back it up, but he's never won here.
Yes.
So it's going to be a good challenge for him.
Correct. 7 different winners over here. That makes it so versatile, and you never can guess who's going to be the winner tonight.
Yeah, it does, and there have been several over the years which we wouldn't have predicted, and last year we felt that Janis Kowodze, we saw him in practice look good, and he converted it in the meeting. But look back at that final from last year here, all 4 riders were in it all the way through. It could have gone to anyone, so really right down to the wire. Very hard to dominate around this track, very hard to win several races, and that's really why we enjoy it. We've seen the series get more and more competitive, so more people in tonight as well. Should be great.
Dave, you mentioned Janis Kowodze. He is a great engineer like you. You're a knowledgeable engineer, not only Gary Morgita is, Sam.
Yep.
He's got his own workshop.
Yeah, well, that's really good of him to have his own technical team behind him and keep it going. One thing for sure is this track, you can never win every start from every gate position. There's always going to be one of them. We found in the history we've been here, one of them that's dead. One's dead, yeah. And then, you know, if you get a rider that gets through the dead gates, sometimes it's really difficult to pick that up.
So we can see right now the 7 different winners of this championship in Güstrow. It was Nicky Pedersen, it was Martin Veselik, so fabulous. And also Częstochowa racing was second to none, Sam. You cannot predict who's going to be the winner, who's going to be the fastest.
No, you can't. And you know, sometimes we've had different kind of weather conditions. Riders can have some bad luck. If the conditions work for you, it helps you. And that's just racing, that's sport.
Per Jönsson, a fabulous rider from Sweden, he became the world champion in Oxford Bradford, also in 1990. He is supposed that Częstochowa is the one to watch. You can never get bored with the race in Częstochowa.
Well, that's a good analysis for sure from a top rider of Per Jönsson. But you know, all racetracks, when somebody asks you, especially they've asked me, what's your favorite track? And I always say a good prepared track, because all of them have something better to give you, whether it's an inside line, an outside line, or the starts are good. But you got to race the other racers, and that's what it's about.
Yeah, part of it's a golden helmet. Everyone seems to win the golden helmet. But with the last one in Czech Republic, this is going to be the one to watch as well.
Yeah, and that was again a really good meeting last year. And the thing about this series, you were talking about 4 rounds. Obviously, it's a short series, but what it almost always means.
In 2014, Nicky Pedersen won the opening round of races, 1 point ahead of Krzysztof Kasprzyk. The following year it was round 2 and Artem Laguta took his only SEC victory as he held off Andrzej Lebedev in the final, whilst 2018 was a breakthrough for Great Britain's Robert Lambert, only his second.
Yes, an amazing arc, like because of the stuff over here. And I do believe, Sam, when you can see it.
Wet meeting here a few years ago, they couldn't actually race the final. Thankfully it's dry and sunny and warm today, but different conditions for these riders to face, and all about who can read the track and read the way the track develops over the night.
Artem Laguta, the first ever Russian champion. Even Igor Pehanov has never become the champion. He was the runner-up at Wembley and Ullevi. But Piotr Pawlicki, for some reason, his father was paralyzed after a horrible crash in Güstrow, and then because he grew up on a very tiny little short track next to Leszno, he became a winner over here. So
yeah, I think anytime you got experience of small tracks, big tracks, you can bring that. Americans come from the small tracks, so I totally understand how that helps you get really close to the other rider, and you don't feel intimidated by being close. And I think that right there alone helps a rider's package, you know, to be able to be very versatile.
You can see so many riders like Siggy or Schwartz or Kelly Morin brothers or Short Morin brothers or Greg Hancock. They all grew up on a very short track. For them to race here.
Yeah, it's a very good example, you know. Anytime you can actually be able to learn how to ride really close and then adapt to the bigger tracks. I mean, I came from Costa Mesa, but my first world final was at Bradford, and that's a huge track. So yeah, I think it.
To see the top race last year here, when Janis Kowodze has been doing it, that was the race to watch.
That was a fantastic race, a great way to finish the meeting. Of course, it's great to have Kowodze back. The really interesting thing about tonight's draw is that the 4 riders who missed the first round in Częstochowa have all been drawn numbers 1 to 4. So we see them all in Heat 1. So you bring in Janusz Kowodze, Dominic Guevara is back as well. Greg Olsen-Goster is in the meeting too. Andreas Liaga. They're all in Heat 1, so what a great start.
Yeah, I think it's the time to show the last heat of Guestrow 2022 run.
The restart of the final in Güstrow. Who will win the second round of the Speedway Euro Championship? The bike's rev. Once again, the green light's on. This time it's a clean wide, and Beauty goes charging through, and Kowalski has the advantage over Dudek, and Manson here is at the back because Beauty's gone through into third. Now what can Manson do from the back, trying to get that speed round the outside going? Kowalski out in front, Dudek in second, Beauty in third. Manson so far can't make it through.
No, Dudek's just got to cover that second place right there because Bewley's got him under pressure. Bewley goes to the outside now. Dudek then goes a little bit wider. Dudek cuts back, and now they're starting to bunch up again, but clearly out in front is Kowodze.
Well, Beauty attacking Dudek, but might that bring Madsen back in for a third place? We'll have to wait and see on that one. And Dudek now is coming back in on Kowodze, and Beauty is trying to go back inside Dudek. Still on here in the final. Janusz Kowodze with the advantage. Patrick Dudek in second. Beauty in third. It's tight into the third and fourth for final time. It's still Janusz Kowodze. Madsen, the big one round the outside. Janusz Kowodze is a winner in the Speedway Euro Championship. He's been superb all night with 4 race wins, made that 5, and Kowodze wins in Güstrow.
Mentioned that Janusz Kowodze, the only round he's won was Prague, Czech Republic track, which you know quite
It's
well.
huge, yeah.
It's huge, but
Yeah.
you know it from the famous GP Challenge. Remember?
Yeah, you know, when we seen Janusz win this, I was watching him in practice. I was watching a couple guys here today. He just looked a little bit more special, you know. And then when I went up and had a chat with him, and he went out there and he did great.
Were you the sports director Reading Smallmouth, the famous racetrack, when Janusz Kowodze was racing?
He was,
for
yeah. I
Reading
had a
Bulldogs?
good relationship with Janusz when
Yeah.
he joined the Reading. They were called the Bulldogs back
Yes,
then.
the Bulldogs,
John
not the
Postlethwaite
racers, yeah.
was the organizer, the owner of that venue, and he hired me to come in there and help him out. And Janusz was a superstar. You know, I think that was a really good learning curve for him because we know that European tracks are quite big and quite fast. But when you get on the small tracks or even some of the
Funny thing, Krzysztof Cegielski, former rider for Bull Pirates,
Yep.
he was saying, Janusz Kowodze, you should bring the backpack and try to make it to race.
yeah, I get it.
Carlos is an interesting one because he's got better and better with age, hasn't he? You'd have thought, approaching 40 years of age, he might be slowing down, but actually, he's had a real renaissance in recent years. He had that year in the Grand Prix, and you mentioned Prague, and then went really close to winning this championship last year, which would have got him back in the Grand Prix. Didn't quite make it, but shame he was injured for the first meeting here because he would have been right in play. As it is, he's trying to battle for top 5, and if he has 3 good meetings, he could still make it.
Yep.
Sam, this is German soil.
Up all the archive stuff, aren't you? Yes.
And did you say he's been with Bellevue in the UK for 2?
In 2016, learn how to race on the Mildura track in Australia, down under, then you can never be afraid of any other track. So maybe...
Well, that's just a small technical track, as this track is technical as well. A lot different speed, Mildura versus this kind of a track, but if we're still focusing on the fact that the riders as a wild card is Norik's coming in here, you know, I don't think he's scared of anybody. I had a word with him earlier, and he says, yeah, I sometimes don't pick the right racing lines on this track, and that's important here because you got, like I said at the top of this interview, the inside or the outside are the 2 places to be. In the middle, you're in no man's land.
We had a chance earlier on to speak to Norik Brodern from Germany, so right now a full interview with a German wildcard racer. Well, German Speedway had so many legends and fabulous riders. Let's say Gerd Ries, the fabulous long track champion, Tommy Dunke, of course, Karl Meyer, and Egon Miller, the only ever champion, 1983 from Norden. We've got the new guy, Norik Brodern, who Tommy Dunke is his uncle, and also he is a great star for Bellevue Manchester, which is a huge temple of Speedway. So, Norik, does it help to have an uncle who is a long track specialist?
Well, I think it always helps to get a family who is involved in the sport. Like my father rode by himself, and my grandfather, my uncle. So,
So you get a good pedigree in motorsport.
yeah, definitely. So my basics, because I think it's like basically after the GP's highest competition you could be in, and I think like that's just pretty good for me.
And last thing, it's only 2 meters shorter than Voyens track, very technical. So racing in England helps you to be more versatile here.
Yeah, but it's pretty round. Yeah, like when you see Voyens, it kind of got long straights and sharp corners, and here it's like basically like
Circle.
yeah, just a circle, and even the start like out of the corner, straight out of the corner. So it's completely different compared to Voyens, even if it's similar.
Only 2 meters
size.
shorter.
yeah, but no, but I think like English Speedway just helps me in general, like big tracks like Bellevue, Peterborough, you know, bigger tracks, and you got Ipswich, Wolverhampton, more technical. So yeah, I think I got the knowledge about some tracks, and hopefully it will pay off today.
Thank you, Norik. Wish you all the best.
Thank you.
I appreciate your time.
You too. All right.
Yes, without a doubt, Norik Bladon is a very ambitious young man who knows how to learn to be a better rider.
I think he just kind of sums it up that we've been talking about already. You know, any kind of experience riding with guys that are better than you is only going to bring you along, and he's got pretty much all the ingredients to be able to follow in the footsteps of his family. That's been like a couple generations of what he's mentioned, and I didn't even know that. It's really good to see that he's got the enthusiasm to learn and progress.
Sam, you've been a great champion on the Speedway Shell. You know, Otto Landenhammer, Hansig. Germany has a great industry pedigree with the mechanic machinery stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, when you look at the history of the Iron Ages of the history of Europe, you know, I mean, Germany has a big history of
car manufacturers.
Yeah, and they just got a lot of technical advice, I think, and if they really search for it, they could find technical people that can maybe direct them away to maybe get some good results out of the engines.
What do you reckon, Dave? With having such a great champions like Michael Schumacher and Sebastian Vettel, it helps also to be sometimes in the spotlight, but German Speedway is going up.
Yeah, very much so. I think Bladon could be the next great superstar of German Speedway. And we've seen, I think Martin Smolinski has taken German Speedway forward a long way. Obviously, he had his Grand Prix win. He's also very strong still on the long track and trying to win that series again. And you're absolutely right. These names that have appeared, the great Formula One stars of the past, well, Bladon's a young up-and-coming talent. For me, he does things all the right way. He speaks very well. He knows what he's doing. And I think the next 2 or 3 years will be very interesting to see just how far he gets.
Just to sum up, Sam, you as a pundit in technical skills in engineering or tuning the engine, do you think because of the German have such a great tradition in terms of the things, it also helped the young riders to grow up?
I think anytime you got some support, whenever you're riding for your country, for instance, you know, these guys will come out of the woodworks and possibly help develop something for you. And then you got to put that on the big stage, and then you got to have the confidence in it as well. So it's a package.
Earlier on, we've had a chance to speak to another racer, Danish rider who was injured in Chesterhove, Andreas Liager. He's got some great philosophy about racing on the Speedway bike. Danish riders had a great tradition clinching the European Championship final. So it was Mikkel Mikkelsen and also Liam Madsen, but we got Andreas Liager, who is an ambitious guy. You've been ready to go in Chesterhove, but for some reason the injury became far too strong for you.
Yeah, it was. You know, I was a bit quiet up to the sec about it because I had a broken hand. I was thinking if we strip it up with tape and stuff, I would be able to race with it. But the pain went a bit too much under the practice, and I had to pull out of the meeting. So that was first time in my career I had to pull out of a meeting, but that was the best for everyone, I think.
But you've been racing Andreas in Chesterhove years ago, so it was a known track for you.
Yeah, it was a bit hard, you know. Also, now I finally make it through. I qualified myself all the way through here and race in Chesterhove. Like you said, I've been racing there in 2 years, and my mechanic is from there. So, yeah, it was a bit hard to pull out from that meeting, but that was how it was.
When you're ready to compete in Speedway European Championship in SAC, do you need 2 Spannermen, 2 mechanics, 3 mechanics, or big crew, or you prefer to have a shorter amount of people?
I actually think I'm the guy that have the less crew here in SEC. I only got 1 mechanic, Maxi. He's been with me. Maxi. He's been with me for 5 years, so and that thing is it's working. Yeah, so I don't need a lot of clever guys and shit around me. I need to know what I have.
Speed and velocity in the bike.
Yeah, exactly. I don't need 10 professors around me to tell me how to
10
race.
10 professors, you don't need them.
No. I just need, you know, if you got like you know 5 friends, it's better than like 15. Yeah. So it's better to have like small crew, and you know what you have and you know what you're doing. Yeah.
Remember, Olli Tirvainen, Finnish rider, was helping Tony Rickardson, 6 times world champion. So for some reason, a lot of people think you need to have psychologist, diet, nutritionist. You don't think it's possible, or you need that to be successful in Speedway?
I don't know, it depends. Yeah, you know, all of us is like through the Danish national team we got all this psychology guys and dietists. So, and I've been using that, you know, before when I was younger, but now I'm a bit older and, you know,
experienced.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and you know what to eat and you don't know what to eat, and so it's for me it's like simple. You're a sportsman and you gotta act like a sportsman. I don't need a psychology to tell me how I should think. It's pretty
books
simple.
to read, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Speedway is simple. Yeah, it's tape, 4 laps, and then the best guy is when the checking flag is. So.
Just for the final, Guestrow, the track, you love it or not?
Yeah, I won the meeting here out here for like 2 months ago. So yeah, I like it pretty much. It's normally out here is many lines, yeah. But that's the thing with Güstrow also. The line can change pretty quick also, especially after the grading out here. So yeah, I definitely think it's gonna be a lot of good racing out here today. We will see.
Andreas Liager, the man who doesn't need too many 10 professors to be successful on the show. Thank you very much.
Thanks, mate.
Yes, Andreas Liager is a very smart guy. You've been racing against main Dane Hans Nielsen, Eric Gundersen, so many great riders, both in Bradford and Pucking. Danish riders, always good gators, right?
They're just they come from a different kind of background. Their training and how they get to the level of the international level is a little bit different than the way the Americans came through, but that recipe still works. Those guys were fast and they were really good competitors, and it's nice that I can still have a beer and a chat with them now.
Dave, Danish riders love this soil, love this track. Would you reckon both Mikkelsen and Madsen are the top hot favourites here?
Well, I think you always have to make them the hot favourites just because of their record in the series over the years. Madsen has finished second here 3 times, so clearly he has got the hang of it. It just hasn't quite worked out for him properly in the final. Mikkelsen's form here is a bit more up and down, so I think probably more pressure on him to turn things round. And we've just heard from Liager there, who I'm interested to see how he gets on. He rode in Voyens 4 years ago as a reserve, basically, when I think Leon Madsen had pulled out of the meeting, so he took some rides and rode really well, but obviously he's had his injury concerns. Glad to see that's all sorted out now, and he's the kind of rider who'll be looking to make a big impression here. So yeah, they look out for the Danes as always.
Sam, do you reckon to win the European crown, is it good that you get promoted to the World Championships?
I think it's an excellent prize to be able to go straight into the Grand Prix series after winning the SEC. It's definitely put a lot of credibility on
Coventry B, sorry.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. a lot of credibility in the work that goes behind the scenes here for the SEC crew. We've been a part of it for many years now, and they're second to none really when it comes down to presenting, putting on a good show, and the riders here now take it to that level of they can go to the World Championships, and that is a superb prize.
Tony Verena was the first Polish medalist on the world stage, Ulevi behind Barry Briggs and Sverre Harper 66, but Kasper Verena, he becomes a very good rider through Coventry and Pool Pirates as well.
Yeah, and he's a good kid too. He's one of those ones I think is still yet to come. I think he's still got a lot more to give to the sport, and I think he's gaining tons of experience. He's doing great.
He'll have to travel to Down Under to get a gorgeous tan like you, Sam.
It works sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, it works. So with the Guestrow approaching the round, would you think that's going to be a really decisive round, David?
Yeah, I think it can do it, and obviously we go into the meeting with 1 point between Madsen and Mikkelsen. So this is the round where Madsen will look to try and stretch clear if he can take advantage of anything in Mikkelsen, and if anybody else is going to really threaten them, the likes of Verena, who had a good meeting in the first round in Częstochowa, Dimitri Berger was consistent, scored double figures. They need to have a really big one tonight to really gain ground.
Is it a good transition, Sam, to move into the laydown engines?
I think when we look back at it, possibly wasn't. I don't think it was the best thing in any. But what it has done, it's brought in. We've already touched the fact that the German technology in motorsport is pretty big. As soon as the laydowns came in, it brought a lot of different influences from other motorsports because there was a lot of problems with the carburetions, a lot of things that became a challenge for a lot of the riders, which I think has took the sport to another level.
I can talk to you for the eternity. It's a very knowledgeable discussion. So, but right now we have to move on. You can follow us on social media, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Twitter, whether it's Facebook. And also don't forget, it's a fabulous racing night approaching. It will commence very soon, and the racing will be fabulous, second to none, and you can just watch it on pay-per-view. My pleasure.
Thank you.
Samuel Malenko, Dave Rowe, top boys in the world of Speedway.
Thank you.
Sponsorem programu był Tauron, sprzedawca prądu, fotowoltaiki i ogrzewania.